Well, I've just been reading through Google damp news. In this week's damp news, this story is from let's have a look what thing Derbyshire Live, and this there's a woman in Hull. So I'll just take you through the story and I'll comment on it. So, a mum family home has been blighted by mould for the last 2 years. Says a council workman told her to solve the problem by avoiding hairdryers. I don't have that problem. Do I, love? No. Amy Robinson, 34, lives with her husband and 2 children in a house owned by East Riding of Yorkshire Council. So she's in Hull, and Hull's now back in Yorkshire, apparently, so that's good news, isn't it? You were in Yorkshire, then went out, turned into East Riding, but then now it's back in Yorkshire. So welcome back, anybody know. Amy was previously told by a council worker to stop drying her clothes in the house. There's a common theme with this, with drying clothes. Mand now says an assessor told her not to use her hairdryer in her bedroom. It reports Hull Live. Amy said, "We moved in about 3 years ago and had a few months of no problems before it started." She's probably moved in summer, and then it went into condensation season. "So I told the council and they sent an inspector out to come and have a look. He came out and he had a look and said I needed to stop drying and washing my clothes in the house, and I need to vent my place." So she's a tenant, and they're saying that she needs to do this, that and other instead of them doing work. But the problem is not restricted purely to the rooms where clothes are dried, said Amy. The windows were open most of the time. You see, this is where the problem is. If the windows are open on a blue sky day like today, no problem. But it's when it rains and mists and fogs and whatever, so all other humid conditions outside, if she's got windows open, that's going to come inside. So that could be part of the issue. Tile vents were installed last summer, but Amy says the problem in the house still continued. Damp and mould spread from the walls and ceiling onto the furniture as well. It doesn't exactly spread off at wall onto furniture. If your furniture's humid, if it's wet or condensed, then you've got mould spores in air, and they will germinate in different parts. So that's issue. If it's vented, when condensation forms on a surface, if it's well vented, it'll evaporate off in sort of no time, and then evaporate into air. And she's put a picture. There you go. Of the mould on the wall that she's conveniently not cleaned off. Is it her problem to clean off? Partly, Is she using a supermarket cleaner like what my other half uses that contains salt? Yeah, probably. It says this is a caption under picture. Damp and mould was in all parts of the house, said Amy Robinson, except for the kitchen. The last time she spoke to Hull Live, except for the bathroom, the situation hasn't improved since. Now it could be north facing, so a north facing wall is going to be coldest, so your kitchen might be south facing, so when the sun goes round, that's probably an issue. It's a colder room in back of house. A sofa, table, chest of drawers, blinds and a mirror had all been affected. I've already had to redecorate 3 or 4 times, Amy said. Now, as somebody told her to use anti-mould paint or anti-condensation paint, it's more expensive than normal paint, so she probably hadn't used it, but it's whether she had that advice to use that type of paint that might have helped make it hold off a bit less. But you've got to treat source of problem, which is ventilation. It's the smell that's worse. When I go to my bedroom, like old wet newspapers, my dad described it. It smells musty. So, old wet newspapers. She added, someone came out and said there isn't a problem. It's due to me drying my hair in my bedroom. I know I shouldn't laugh. As when they came in, my mum had the hairdryer on in my bedroom. My dad was trying not to laugh or say anything to him, as he kept saying, it's my fault and condensation. You see, this is one thing that they shouldn't be doing. They shouldn't be saying it's lifestyle, it's your fault. They should be looking at fixing the problem. They should be looking to say, right, we're not bothered whose fault it is. Let's look for see if we can solve the problem. So let's look at what we can do inside the flat to solve this issue. And it's, I mean, I keep banging on about it. It's adequate ventilation. There's lots of things you can use. And if you've got one problem flat, you know, councils spend some money and get it well ventilated and insulated. And you'll not have these issues. There's ways of doing it, and I think because it's a council and they have to go through so many different departments to get a resolution to any problems, things are just not getting done. And I think this is where longer it's left, bigger problem becomes. A recent damp meter reading bought by Amy herself has highlighted the apparent significant levels of dampness on the walls in most of the house's rooms. This is where it gets interesting because I can comment on this. All rooms are reportedly affected by damp except for the kitchen and currently the bathroom. So there's a picture here, Amy's damp meter, which is like just a cheap damp meter what's been bought, and it's at 25.4%. So 25.4% on there. And there's a picture of some rain on left. And this image was by Amy Robinson, just so we can get copyright through. Most of the readings taken by Amy and photographed show a damp level of more than 20%, and in 2 cases over 25%. This is, I don't know where they're getting that information from, but it says the normal moisture level in walls varies. Yeah, that's probably true, depending upon the material used. But usually dampness above 16% is viewed as a cause for concern. 20% mark that we look for, but there is an area on our meters where it says at risk. So that's what they're probably on about on this meter. It could be the at risk area, but if it's over 20%, then you can say definitely. That meter that they're using with 2 prongs, it's called a capacitor meter. What happens is when these 2 prongs get put on a surface, and if it's wet, that makes a full circuit. So it goes inside and that through all things, and it makes a full circuit, and then it'll give a reading. When Amy originally spoke to Hull Live, an East Riding of Yorkshire Council spokesman said, a further inspection will shortly take place at the property, and the council's housing team are committed to resolving issues which fall under the council's responsibility. And that were it. That's your article. So it's to be continued. This is what we're getting. This is what we're getting at this time here. So that's just been on Jeremy Vine, which I mentioned before. And then there's this one there's a couple of others, so I'll do another video once I've read them. But ventilate, insulate, dry walls. I had to make a saying over that, winner. Ventilate, insulate, something else. I'll do that. I'll make something up for next and enjoy your weekend.